I'm 9 or maybe 10. But I like saying 9 because it sounds softer, like I still have time to figure things out before people start expecting real answers from me. Right now, I live in a world where everything important happens when I grow up. And I believe it, honestly, like a promise the sky made just to me. I think life will start later. After school, after homework, after whatever this in-between part is where adults keep saying the same phrase over and over, you just need to be patient. I'm pretty good at being patient when it comes to cookies or waiting for cartoons, but being patient about life feels weird, like someone's telling me to hold my breath until they say I can breathe again. I imagine that grown-up me will finally get to breathe. He'll stretch in the morning and not have to run anywhere, because running is for kids who forgot their backpacks or adults who forgot they used to be kids. He'll sit by a window with sunlight on the floor and he won't need to ask permission for anything. He'll eat pancakes for dinner if he wants. He'll have a quiet room where nothing is piled up, not even those papers adults always sigh at. When I'm older, I'll have a big window and I'll sit under it at night and watch lights flicker outside and feel like the world is waiting for me, not the other way around. I think adulthood is basically freedom with warm socks on. I want to be someone who lives slowly, not like the grown-ups I see who say, "Not now," like it's a spell that makes minutes disappear. I want to be a firefighter, and also an inventor, and also the kind of person who travels everywhere and knows how to fold maps without tearing them. Maybe I'll live in the mountains, maybe by the sea, maybe I'll have a dog that listens to only me. Sometimes I say I'll be rich, not because I care about money, but because grown-ups look less tired when they talk about people who are rich. But the real reason is simpler. I want time. Adults don't seem to have it. They're always carrying invisible bags full of stuff they don't talk about, and I wonder how heavy those bags get. I don't want to carry anything heavy when I'm grown. I'll take care of my body. I'll do stretches even if I fall over and laugh at myself. I won't drink bitter coffee or shout across rooms or leave messages unanswered. I'll have slow mornings with cereal and fruit and maybe eggs if I learn not to burn them. My house will smell like something nice. Oranges in winter, basil in summer. I'll open windows just to hear the wind say hello. I don't know why adults never open windows. Maybe they forget. I'm scared of forgetting too. Forgetting to play, forgetting to daydream, forgetting how to make up stories in the bathtub or turn shadows into animals. I see adults who don't laugh with their whole face anymore, and it makes me worry that smiling is something you lose like baby teeth. I don't want that. I want to stay curious forever. I want to still believe that life can change overnight, that something magical might happen on a random Tuesday. My biggest fear is turning into someone who says later to everything. Later feels like a box where grown-ups put things they don't want to think about, but the box never gets opened again. I hear my mom say she'll rest later, that she'll take a vacation later, that she'll fix something later, and I want to ask her when later actually shows up. But I don't, because she's tired and I don't want to make her more tired. When I grow up, I'll rest when I need to. I'll listen to myself. I won't feel guilty for wanting quiet or fun or nothing at all. I'll go for walks in the rain and not worry about wet socks. I'll dance in the kitchen without turning off the kettle. I'll love someone, and they'll love me, and we'll talk about silly things like clouds and sandwiches and what color the sky looks when you're happy. I'll take care of the people I love, but not forget to take care of me too. I'll have time for all the things I want to do. Learning guitar, taking trips, calling grandma just to say hi, planting something in a pot even if it dies. And if life gets busy, I'll pause. I'll promise myself I'll never be too busy to notice things. How the house smells after baking, how warm sunlight feels on my arm, how my heart beats after running, how someone's voice changes when they're proud of me. I don't know exactly when my real life starts, but I think it'll be obvious. One day I'll wake up and feel ready, like someone finally said, "Okay, you can live now." And I'll keep every promise I made myself, because that's what grown-ups do, I think. They get to choose, and I choose to live later, when everything is calmer, when I'm older, when life finally begins.
I don't remember when exactly later slipped out of my hands, but I know it didn't happen in one dramatic moment. It was quieter than that, the way dust gathers on books you meant to read. I kept thinking life would start once things settled, Once work stopped pulling at my sleeves, once the kids got older, once the house wasn't such a mess, once my back stopped hurting, once I finally caught up on sleep. But settling never happened. Everything just kept rearranging itself into new kinds of urgent, and I kept telling myself to wait a little longer. I thought patience was a virtue. Turned out it was more like a habit I didn't know how to break. I used to picture myself hiking through mountains when I retired, breathing air so clean it would erase years from my chest. I imagined mornings with sunlight on wooden floors, slow breakfasts, maybe a book. I promised myself I'd try painting again, or at least grow herbs on the windowsill. But when retirement finally came, it didn't look like the life I'd imagined. It came with pills sorted in tiny boxes, with knees that protested when I tried to walk uphill, with a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. The mountains I once dreamed about now feel like distant decorations on someone else's postcard. Even small trips exhaust me. Sometimes I stand in the hallway with my shoes in my hand, trying to decide whether it's worth going outside at all. I didn't plan for that part. No one tells you that by the time you have time, your body won't necessarily come with you. The first compromise was harmless, taking a job I didn't love because it paid better. I told myself it was temporary, just until I saved enough. But temporary grew roots. After that, there were dozens of tiny choices. Staying late at work because it was easier than disappointing someone, postponing weekends because the laundry piled up, saying no to invitations because next time sounded reasonable. Years passed like that, disguised as days. I didn't feel myself drifting. I just woke up one morning and realized I couldn't remember the last time I did something simply because I wanted to. My life became full of things I didn't choose, but somehow agreed to. I used to think I'd travel when I retired, spend time with old friends, maybe learn that guitar I once dreamed about. But people moved away, or drifted, or died. I postponed too many dinners, too many calls, too many gentle moments that might have stitched me closer to someone. And when I finally reached out again, the silence on the other end wasn't angry. It was just empty. I started cleaning old drawers the other day and found a list of places I wanted to visit. The handwriting looked young, almost like someone else's. I sat there for a long time holding that paper, feeling something heavy settle in my chest. Not grief, not exactly regret, just the quiet understanding that I waited too long. I kept telling myself I was building a future where I could rest, where life would finally open up. But life didn't work that way. It happened while I was busy preparing for it. I missed so many small things because they didn't seem important at the time. Watching my son ride his bike the first time without training wheels. A weekend trip my wife planned before cancelling it because I looked tired. A concert my daughter begged me to attend. Moments that didn't repeat themselves. They slipped away softly, without anger, without announcement. Just gone. These days my mornings are quiet, the kind I once thought I wanted. I eat slowly. I sit by the window. I have time. But the silence is different from what I imagined. It doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like a room that used to be full. I try walking sometimes just around the block, but my legs complain, and I turn back early. The air feels heavier than I remember. The sky looks farther away. I don't blame anyone. Not my work, not my family, not myself even. Life just kept happening and I kept assuming mine would start later, and later kept moving away from me. I wish I hadn't waited for the perfect moment to do simple things, to rest, to laugh, to call someone I missed, to sit on the floor with my kids even if I was tired, to watch the sunset instead of checking emails again. I don't have one big regret. I have many small ones, like pebbles in a jar that rattles when I'm alone. And now, when people tell me I have all the time in the world, I smile because they don't understand. Time is only useful if you still have the strength to spend it. I used to think life would begin after I finished all the hard parts. I see now that the hard parts were life too, and I kept waiting for something cleaner, brighter, easier. Something that never came. I don't say this to teach anything. I wouldn't dare. I just want to be honest. I thought I would live when I retired. But retirement arrived with a quieter kind of truth. That life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It simply keeps moving. And if you spend too long preparing for it, you end up watching it from the window instead of walking out the door. I don't know what anyone else should do with their days. I only know what I did with mine, and what I didn't. I don't have advice. I don't have a lesson. All I have is this quiet thought that sits with me in the evenings. Life didn't turn out wrong, it just turned out lived, a little crooked, a little late, a little smaller than I once imagined, but still mine. And if someone younger ever hears my story and wonders what to do with their own days, I won't tell them how to choose. I'll only say this. I spent a long time waiting for a moment that never arrived. If you're standing where I once stood, maybe you'll notice yours when it does. Not because you should, just because it's there.